Her area of interest includes distributed computing, deep learning, and geoportal design and development, loves being with nature, singing, nurturing plants, bird watching, reading techno management articles and writing. Speaks Tamil, Hindi, Malayalam, and English. Now I request Ms. A. Vijay Bhanu Madam to take over the session.
Very good afternoon, all of you. It gives me a lot of happiness to join all of you. My prayers for all your good health and joy. Thanks for this opportunity. So let me share the screen. Is my presentation slides visible, ma'am?
Yes, madam.
Okay. So in this session, we will be seeing about big geospatial data available from Indian remote sensing satellites, its applications through various solutions available in ISRO's geo portals. You would have heard about Bhuvan, Vedas, and MOSDAQ. And we will also see a few examples covering deep learning solutions. So shall we start? Coming to the fleet of Indian remote sensing satellites, Indian satellites, we have communication satellites, Earth observation satellites, scientific payloads, navigation satellite IRNSS, experimental satellites, small sats, student sats. So let us consider the second group, Earth observation satellites. So touching upon the various data sets available from this fleet of Earth observation satellites, RISOSat 1, 2, and 2A, the various spatial resolutions, 56 meter, 23 meter, 5.8 meter data sets, Cartosat 1, 2, and 3, mainly pan and multispectral data, pan up to 0.25 centimeter data, and on the multispectral side, 1 meter data sets, RISAT, HISIS on the hyperspectral end, OceanSat 1, 2, SARAL, SCATSat, OceanSat data, ocean color monitoring data sets for every 2 days, Ka band data for measuring the wave heights, scatterometer data sets, INSAT 3D, 3DR, megatropics from which we get the weather information. And I would like to show here an example of one of our recent releases, GeoKump app, released by Indian Remote Sensing Center. I will be switching this screens throughout this session so that we can see some application from the geoportals as well as some of the concepts from our PPTs. So let me go to this application, GeoKump. This is dedicated for Kumbh Mela Yatris. We can see here, there is a, these are various data sets, and even Cartosat 3 data of the Haridwar region is available. Let me go to data viewer. So this is the data sets which is being pulled from Bhuvan, 2017 data sets, but we can overlay certain new Cartosat data sets from here. For example, December 29, 2020 data sets. Similarly, we can see other data sets. Let me go to 2014 data sets. And for each of the data sets, we can see the metadata by going through this I button. Here you can see this is the data acquired during 2015. Just a minute. 2014. Okay, I think there is a minor error here. 2015. And from which sensor, how it is created using fusion, all this information is given as a metadata here. So let us also see what are the other sensor data available. So we can see Sentinel data, worldview data, etc. available here. Under weather information, we can see 72 hours forecast, the temperature data, even up to 25th March. The humidity and temperature profile are shown over here. So around 5:30 p.m. For 25th March, 5:30 a.m. It's around 19 degree. So similarly, you have the cloudiness conditions, rainfall conditions, rainfall, all that. So for seeing a particular graph, we can see this way. So this is some of the weather services being integrated from the MOSDAQ site and made available here. And apart from that, then we can see some land resources data sets, land cover maps. Let me show the built-up map of Haridwar. The yellow represents the croplands, agriculture area. And apart from that, we also have forest data, built-up area, biological readiness, water resources. Let us see the turbidity map and stream network. So it is of medium turbidity. And then we can also overlay the administrative boundaries like district boundaries and state boundaries, infrastructure map. Then one important thing to show here is the crowdsourced data coming from Haridwar region, the various COVID testing centers, the tourist spots, medical stores. Let us go overlay everything. So this is one of the new rollout from our team, integrating the source, different sources from different ISRO geoportals. So let me go back to the PPT. Yes. So we saw some of the data sets corresponding to Indian remote sensing satellites. And okay, once we have launched the satellites precisely in the orbit, after acquiring the data, how are these data sets helping us? So there is quite a good amount of applications which are demonstrated in the societal end as well as on the commercial end. Natural resources sensors, agriculture crop inventory, wasteland mapping, forest mapping. These are few examples on the Earth observation data sets like Risosat and Cartosats. Cartosat mainly we use for high resolution mapping, and Oceansat data sets, yes, for weather forecasting, understanding the extreme rainfall conditions, etc. Similarly, we use the data sets for potential fishing zone advisories, ocean state forecast, all those things. So I request you to visit this particular link available in our ISRO website to know details of the applications we carried out. So apart from these applications, these data sets also helps us to achieve the sustainable development goals, starting from poverty, either directly or indirectly, along with the ground data, along with the census information, along with the demographic and socio-economic data sets. These data sets help us in achieving the sustainable development goals. So where we can find some of these data sets? From ISRO's geoportals like Bhuvan, Vedas, and MOSDAQ. Can we see some examples? So let me take the main application, agriculture application, which is available in Vedas. So Vedas, let us visit vegetation and crop monitoring. Ma'am, when I am switching over the screens are visible, right? Can anybody help me?
Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you. So vegetation monitoring. So this is for the whole India, the vegetation conditions. Let us go to this data visualization section. And we can see here AWIPS data for every 15 days is the NDVI derived from AWIPS data is available for every 15 days. Similarly, other data, NDVI derived from other data sets are also available. So suppose I am interested in understanding the vegetation condition of a single location. Let me go to a particular location. Yes. So the red line corresponds to 2019-20, and we can see the NDVI conditions for every 15 days. So these data sets are available for the entire country. Similarly, we have other data sets also. We will see some more examples. Let us go to this data analysis section and try to see some of the geospatial analysis. For example, I would like to find the difference between 2020, let me take 2020 January and 2021 January. What are the changes? Vegetation health condition point of view, what are the changes? So the red indicates the negative aspects and green indicates the improvement. So we can see, though there are some improvements in 2021, we can see some of the reduction in the greenness in these areas. So for any two data sets, we can find the differences. Similarly, we have geospatial calculator. I would like to request all of you to explore this geospatial calculator and all other geospatial functionalities available in this portal. Let us see another example from energy sector. So this is the annual insolation map for whole India, taking average of considering the insolation between 2009 to 10 years data sets. We can see for any selected locations, we can get the monthly average insolation, January to December. We can see here, May goes to the higher value. And let us see in November, it is 118.7 kWh per meter square. So this way, we can see the monthly insolation, average monthly insolation for any point within India. If we want to see for a particular year, 2021, suppose say January, or some other month. It is possible, and we can also play this animation, and we can export this data sets and take and integrate this application to your application. So these are some of the possibilities in Vedas. Let me take another example, weather related applications from MOSDAQ. Let me stop this now. Okay. MOSDAQ, though we give forecast for rainfall, temperature, and all weather conditions, I would like to show this city weather application. So as I am sitting at Bangalore, it has automatically gone to my location. Here we have options to select a particular state, suppose Karnataka, any district within Karnataka. Say Afzalpur. We get the weather conditions here, humidity, rainfall, temperature, and what else? Wind directions, wind speed, all these parameters. And you can see 72 hours forecast are also available. Up to 25th March, 5:30, we have the forecast given here. And one main point to mention here is all this information can be pulled as web service or APIs and integrated in your application what you are developing. We have so many demonstrated collaborative applications already available. Let me take another application. Yes. So here in MOSDAQ, another interesting application is rip currents. Towards the safety for the tourist across the beaches, this particular alert is made available. So we can select any beach. And see the risk conditions due to the rip currents over there. Red ones are high risk. So these are some of the applications under the weather and alert systems. Now let us move towards some e-governance application which is available in Bhuvan. One of the recent release out, COVID-19 vaccination centers. So we can see the vaccination centers locations here, and you can also see on the left side whether it belongs to state health facilities or CGHS is empaneled. All this information can be seen here. Suppose I want to search a particular vaccination center, we can search. And for example, for any selected vaccination center, I can get the details as well as I can have the route maps, the shortest path as well as the fastest path, fastest route can be seen over here. Other facilities like search, etc. are available, and you can have either satellite view. This image is of 1 meter data, 2017. But if you wish to overlay 2018 data sets, we can do that. So these are some of the possibilities. And let us see some more examples. COVID-19 dashboard. Yes, we would like to show this. We have this COVID-19, a complete suite of application for various state governments were developed and made available to those respective states for combating the conditions. So we can see the current scenario with respect to the number, confirmed cases, etc. We pull the data from the government portal and we have given a geospatial dimension to that. The application is taking a little bit time, sorry for that. Let us close the other ones. Okay, we will come back to this application after some time. Then on the disaster end, what services we have? Under Bhuvan, under disaster management services. Let us see for flood, what data sets are available. So let me select Assam. Let us see the consolidated data set, inundation condition between July 10 to August 6th of 2020. The dark blue corresponds to the actual river, and the cyan indicates the inundation situation during this particular period. So like this, for different states, the flood inundation maps are provided. Similarly, for cyclone, drought, forest fires also, the data sets are available. Let us take another example, land use land cover map. Yes, land use land cover maps. Let us go to the thematic services. The various themes for land use land cover map is available for the whole country. Various thematic maps for wasteland, glacial lakes, etc. are available. Let us consider this land use land cover map for 2015-16. Even 1:10,000 data sets, detailed maps are also available. This belongs to year 2015-16. So let me select, suppose, Chandigarh. And we can see these particular data sets are also available as web map services for you to consume, either in QGIS kind of desktop GIS or in any open layers kind of web GIS solutions. So what data sets are available in Bhuvan? We can go to Bhuvan store and look at this. And apart from this, we also have groundwater potential conditions. Let me show that. groundwater application. So we can select the particular district and taluk and see the groundwater potential prospects there. Some of the detailed attributes are available only for groundwater department. Based on login, they can view the details. Let me take another application. For example, government department. The inventory of all their assets belonging to their department. So this is one example where Archaeological Survey of India have used Bhuvan for creating the inventory of the various monuments. Tourism, archaeology. Let me close all the screens. Due to some reason, some of the applications are not loading. Okay, so as shown in the screen, the monuments and heritage sites are mapped, and for each of the monuments, the details are given here. And there are also few case studies shown, like example, Tipu Palace, etc., where the prohibited boundaries around this particular monuments and regulated boundaries are mapped and shown. This application is used by Archaeological Survey of India in their day-to-day task. And this is another example under Ministry of Rural Development, where their complete developmental activities and day-to-day schemes being implemented are being mapped. MNREGA. Okay, I request you to visit this particular site and see all this application. Due to some reasons, I am not able to show you. Very sorry for that. So, with this example, shall we categorize this entire geospatial analysis? We have certain descriptive analysis, we have predictive analysis, and we have prescriptive analysis. So when we understand what happened in the past and what is happening currently, we also try to give certain kind of recommendation actions as the outcomes. Similarly, the examples like NDVI, etc., to understand the crop yield condition are some of the examples and under predictive analysis. So now, having seen the huge scope under geospatial applications, let us see some of the deep learning examples under deep learning solutions. So let me touch upon a few concepts before diving into the actual examples. Yes, what is that so special about AI itself? The computer programs has the ability to learn and act. Computer programs has the ability to learn and act similar to what human do. So quite often we use AI, ML, and DL. DL, deep learning, is subset of ML, and ML concepts are subset of AI. AI, when the computer programs are getting the ability to learn and act, can we get this ability to learn and act without explicitly programming? The machine learning concepts have this answer, where the programs get the ability to learn and act from the data it is exposed without being explicitly programmed, without being mentioning if then else condition rules. Deep learning, yes, it is employing the neural networks to do the same thing, to arrive at the reasoning part. So if you look at the traditional programming versus machine learning, in traditional programming, we give the input data and we deploy a already tested program, so that we derive the outputs. These tested programs are responsible for deriving the outputs. But in case of machine learning, we give a set of inputs as well as outputs to the computer programs, which is called as models, to get trained itself. And when it come across a new scenario, because it has learned, it has the capability to adapt and predict the outcome. So keeping this main difference in mind, let us go ahead. So what are the, so we have heard about huge computation behind neural networks, the necessity of GPU, or the computation power over the cloud, etc. But of course, there are benefits. What are the benefits? A certain data analytic task can be automated. Once the models are trained and automated and deployed, it is available for any new inputs to predict and show the outcome. And the improved accuracy. There are some examples within our labs when we are able to achieve 65% to 75% accuracy with the traditional methods. Here we are able to achieve a higher accuracy, even up to 85%. And faster results, yes, because of the capability of CNN techniques, for the same or improved accuracy, we are able to achieve faster results. Can we have some examples of application of this particular concepts of machine learning and deep learning? Yeah, mainly with respect to satellite imagery, object detection. For example, how many flights are right now landing in Mumbai airport? The feature extraction, land use, land cover, rail, road. If we start using semi-automated methods for extracting the features of roads, rails, land use, land cover, wasteland, and when we compare this same process with respect to the machine learning and deep learning techniques, definitely the results are faster. But of course, we should have the huge voluminous training data sets. Change detections. We will see some of the examples of change detection which are available in Vedas. Classification, yes, for categorizing, for classifying a satellite imagery. Clustering for grouping, for segmentation, definitely it is unsupervised way of learning. And data synthesis. For example, you don't have a particular sensor right now, but can we synthesize those data sets? Definitely transfer learning, etc. helps in this process. So these are certain applications where we are employing deep learning techniques. What are the major processes? Of course, we have a learning phase and we have a prediction phase. While we do the learning, for each iteration, the error is getting analyzed, and finally, by adjusting the weights and bias, we finally get a trained model in this process, which is a function f of x. F of x stands for the input data sets, and the outcome is prediction. So we can categorize two different major processes here as learning process or the training process and the prediction process. Let me touch upon the types of machine learning. So what are the different ways in which a computer programs learns? Supervised learning and unsupervised learning are the two major types. So under supervised learning, we give the input and outcome pair, input data sets and the final output. In this case, the label as cloud is present in this particular image. So the input raw image as well as the cloud image is input to the model, and the model is trained. The f of x is a trained model. Finally, when we are able to give a new image which is comprising of cloud, the model is able to predict the outcome that yes, cloud is available in this particular data sets. So what are the different methods under supervised learning? Of course, k-nearest, KNN, linear regression, logistic regression, CSVM, etc. So this is one particular example where Cartosat dataset, Cartosat 2 datasets are used to detect the clouds. Of course, you know the significance of the cloud. Why removal of cloud is very important for any geospatial solutions. So towards that, for pre-processing, this particular model is very helpful to us. This is being deployed by our Space Application Center team. So having seen are not provided to the model. The model itself learns the patterns and then finally it categorizes, simply classifies into 2-3 groups. That's all. The label has to be given by the experts at the end. For example, here there is a possibility for predicting class 1, class 2 and 3 classes, where finally we have to label the clusters as class 1 comprises of cloud, class 2 comprises of shadow of the cloud, class 3 comprises of other pixels, something like that. So some of the examples to mention under unsupervised learning are k-means clustering and association rules. So when we do the online ordering of the day-to-day items what we require in our life, we get a recommendation system. Okay, you are buying milk, you would like to buy bread. So these kind of recommendation systems are classified under unsupervised learning methods. Then reinforcement learning. This is more used in the driverless cars, where the agent, the software agent, is put into the actual environment, and for each and that environment is new to the agent, and agent is supposed to, for every input, the agent is supposed to give an outcome. So for each of the outcome, the environment will give back a reward. If the reward is positive, that means the outcome is a perfect outcome. If the reward is negative, the agent can understand and correct its mistake. The learning happens by understanding that it is a unexpected outcome. So based on the reward from the environment, the learning happens. So in our applications using satellite imagery are mostly supervised learning process. Then let us touch upon certain types of neural networks. Of course, we saw that in deep learning employs neural networks for the prediction. So let us see some of the examples. Types of the neural networks. The major ones are recurrent neural networks, RNN and CNN. RNN, because there is a internal memory associated with the architecture, it is able to understand and memorize the previous outcomes. So every next outcome is based on the current input as well as the past outcome. So can we get some examples where this kind of sequential inputs play a major role, like prediction? We saw an example of NDVI. So in case of NDVI, when we have last 10 years data, we were trying to predict the 11th year NDVI. So in that case, recurrent neural networks, LSTM is a variation of recurrent neural networks. So recurrent neural networks are used, for example, even for speech recognition, etc. These kind of neural networks are employed. Let us take the second one, convolution neural network. In satellite image-based applications, when we talk about supervised techniques, we mostly employ convolution neural networks. So let us see some of the architecture. ResNet, BGG16, AlexNet, UNet, SegNet are some of the architectures employing convolution neural networks. I would like, we have seen this paper in detail, give a very good explanation of various architecture. Though slightly old, it talks about the various architectures. So what is the objective of convolution neural network? Convolution neural network prepares a representation of the object, nothing but a feature map. For example, if we give a satellite imagery, it understands the color, the spatial characteristic. It understands the temporal aspects in that, the pixel related information, the neighborhood related information. So the characteristics of the object which is given for prediction, based on the characteristics of the objects, the feature map is being created. Then based on this feature map, the actual classification process is being done. So we can divide the whole processes which is happening under convolution neural networks into feature map creation as well as and the classification process. So if you look at any convolution neural networks, what are the major blocks under this? Convolution layer, pooling layer, activation function, and fully connected function, fully connection layer. Convolution layer is the place where actual operation, the matrix dot product computation happens. Convolution happens, convolution layer. Then there is a set of summation where the details are reduced. In order to enhance the computation, the details are reduced by employing this pooling layer. Then we have the activation function. For example, it is not necessary to transmit the whole data to the next node. Some data may contain the objects, some data sets may not comprise the objects which is under detection. So there is no point in transmitting all the data sets to the next layer. So activation function come into picture where we need to transmit the particular data to next node or not. Then finally, the fully connected layer, which does the actual classification and says, yes, this object belongs to, this pixels belongs to cloud pixel. So the classification happens at, this is the final layer. So in any convolution neural network, these particular layers are present, and the many times this is present in iteration. For example, there may be three layers of convolution layer. There may be 3 fully connected layers. There may be 3 pooling layers. So depends on the particular problem definition and the data sets available and the expertise of the machine learning expert. These kind of architectures will get created. So let me go to the next. Yes. So we saw that given any image, the convolution neural network is capable of classifying it into the different classes. So let us consider the convolution operation here. I have taken an example of 7 by 7 matrix. So what is the objective? The objective is to create the conduct the convolution operation by using a filter. Let us assume we are starting by the 3 by 3 filters, 3 by 3 filter. So with respect to this particular data set, this filter convolutes with respect to the stride being mentioned. So finally, by traversing across this whole matrix, we get this 5 by 5 matrix, which is the dot product of this particular matrix. So this dot product represents the feature map of the object. For example, this input image is my satellite imagery, and a particular low-level abstraction, a feature map, is being created from this particular raw data. So by deploying various filters, am I in the position to create a multiple representation of this particular input data? For example, the edges, the spatial characteristics. So maybe 5 to 10 filters are being employed here to do this particular convolution operation, and finally that number of feature maps are getting created. So this is one example to show. Let us consider a 3 band image, 7 by 7 matrix. Okay, so let us take 10 filters. Each filter is of 3 by 3. So ultimately, we get, based on the number of the filters, we get 10 different channels of the images, which is nothing but the dot product. So here, this particular simple representation gives, for example, this particular blue color border line is given here. So this entire thing corresponds to 1 pixel in the feature map. So can you see the dimensionality reduction here? To that is why convolution neural networks are faster. At the same time, it is able to give better results. So yes. So what happens after convolution layers are embedded? Then we should have a pooling layer, which is mainly to reduce the computation. For example, the dot product or the feature map, what is created in each channel, is reduced to a single outcome by employing either average or the maximum of the components in that particular width and height. So the pooling layer is getting created mainly. So by creating the pooling layer, we have got the abstraction. So the abstraction, convolution neural networks are creating the abstract representation starting from the low level abstraction to high level abstraction. Low level abstraction, I mean the edges. The higher level abstraction may be the actual cloud object itself. And ultimately, the entire multi-dimensional array is converted into a single dimensional array, which is called as flattening the matrix, and it is fed into a fully connected layer. Based on the threshold set here, it will be classified as either cloud or non-cloud pixel. So let us see a few examples. Now, having understood the convolution neural network and the supervised learning techniques, let us see a few examples created out of this particular concepts. So this is one urban built-up area extraction from the satellite image LIS4 data. Let us see this, how this application is there in the real world scenario. So let us go to the urban sprawl information system. Data analysis. So these are all, there are around 200 products available here using the deep learning techniques. For various cities, let us take Haryana. Select a particular city. And for 2018 and 2011, we have this data sets. So this is the built-up area corresponding to Faridabad district picked up from LIS4 data sets. Like this, we have around 200 different products for two different time periods, 2018 and 2011. Let us take Rajasthan. So this is for Ajmer district. Similarly, we have Jaipur and Kota. How this is being prepared, all this information is given in the manual. I would like to request all of you to go through this manual. So we have extracted the urban built-up. So how is it going to help? Can we see another example? You can understand the urban sprawl. How is the growth happening? The changes. For example, let me select 2011 datasets and 2020 datasets, Gujarat, Ahmedabad. I think it is there. If you change the color, it will be more prominent. So the the green, dark olive green color, that corresponds to the change happened with respect to 2020. So there is a additional built-up area, but not very prominent. Okay, maybe some 5% or so. So these kind of change monitoring analysis we can do by using this data sets. Another example we would like to show here is building footprint extraction from Cartosat data. So this is to be made available in the portals. We have used Segnet technique and extracted this building footprints. With this building footprints and the solar potential application what we showed during the first part of the session, for each building we have the potential to compute the solar energy over there. Can we see another example where UAV images are used and deep learning techniques are used to identify the objects. On the right side, we have the Cartosat data, and we can see here the whole image is being classified into water body, agriculture area, and urban buildup. This is another example. For many times we need to understand the statistics of the crop being cultivated in a particular region. So how can we quickly estimate the crop yield? So this is one example where R charts are being extracted from the Cartosat data. Not only for extraction of the features, but also can deep learning techniques employed for enhancing the contrast of the images. This is one example where Cartosat multispectral data is used and UNIT technique is being employed to enhance the contrast of the images. So let me summarize here the processes involved in carrying out one deep learning application. Once the problem is defined, we need to gather the data, pre-processing the data. Yes. In our case, we mentioned lot of data sets are available in the geoportals of ISRO. Up to 23 meter data is available for free, which can be downloaded by any registered users. Definitely, the liberalized geospatial guidelines will bring more and more data sets on the public domain. Then the pre-processing data. What kind of pre-processing we have to do in case of our application? We need orthorectified images. Our data sets which are available in the public domain are orthorectified data sets. So it's ready for you to start the training process, except one small step I will be showing you. Then definitely you can't use the same training data set for validation. So we have to split the data sets. So gather from the portals enough data so that some 70% is kept for training, and 30% which is unused in the training is kept for validation. And choosing the models. Of course, if you talk about the models, there are quick ways of employing the already existing models and transfer learning process. So various research papers have given the model itself as an open source. So let us use those already trained models and then configure the parameters as well as the or introduce certain layers as per your need based on the results for your data sets. Model structure, define the model structure, and of course the loss functions where the error will be understood by comparing the actual ground truth data and the predicted data, and based on loss functions also depends on as per your application. And once the model is trained, let us evaluate the models with the value with the validation data which is kept aside, tune the hyperparameters, and then finally deploy it for predicting the outcomes. So in this, let me show you some opportunities under gathering the data. So let us go to Bhuvan, Open Data Archive. There are various data sets available over here. Suppose I say my problem definition is to understand or extracting the snow cover area for a given location. So for snow cover, I would like to choose AWIPS data sets. Let me go and download some AWIPS data sets. This requires login. So So let me go to the interactive drawing, start, and choose the data sets which I am interested in. I would like to select this particular type. So these are the various data sets available for download. So let me take the December 18 data. Let me check whether it is cloud free. It's only a partial scene. I think it's not fully loading here. Yeah, all thumbnails due to some reasons it is not loading properly. Okay, we will go ahead and download this data set.
ஆமா இதை சொல்ல சொன்னாங்க என்ன சொல்ல சொன்னாங்க அவங்க வந்து தருவாங்க சேதுரி மேம் சொல்லி விட்டாங்க மேடம் நீங்க என்னதான் கேட்டீங்கன்னா வந்து தரேன்
You can download the data sets in this manner. The productive, okay. Okay, you can download these data sets in this manner. And I have morning downloaded a data set. I will be showing that. AWIPS data. So we can see here, when I extract this particular zip file, I get 4 bands data. So each band is given as a separate file. So one small pre-processing I need to do. Let me use Quantum GIS for that. You can see here, it's a single band data. Each file is having a single band data. Let me go to this raster data processing and merge this data. Input layers, add directory. So certain text and XML files are here. I would like to remove that. And let me select all. And here I need to specify the output file. Okay, so this is one small pre-processing step I need to do, layer stacking, so that all the 3 bands are available in a single file. Can we make a FCC over here? Okay, now I can download and take to my deep learning platforms for analysis. Of course, I have to create the training data. I have to classify using either some unsupervised classification or NSTI kind of technique and do the classification and take this pair of input as well as output for training to the machine learning platforms. So this is how we created the training data. Some 5 different sets of training.
31ஆம் தேதி மேடம் அதான் நாளைக்கு பர்வீனோட கிளாஸ்
Different training data sets are created. And then can we see the outcome? This is the outcome, AI derived snow for the AWIPS data. So we can see here, it's matching. Okay, now having understood the process for classifying, how do you check the correctness of the outcome? So the confusion matrix come into picture. For example, in my case, let us say the whole pixels, the actual snow pixels, which are classified as snow, are 79, and the snow pixels which are classified as non-snow are 0 pixels. And non-snow pixels classified as snow, there was 1 pixel, and they were correctly classified 20 non-snow pixels as non-snow pixels. So I could achieve 99.9% accuracy. Is this sufficient? Sometimes that single pixel, in this case, fine, but that single candidate may create a lot of challenges. So in that case, we also use intersection over union. So what is intersection over union? Consider this satellite image. So this is the badminton club. The red is the actual predicted badminton club from this particular deep learning model, and green is the actual area, actual badminton club. The correct output, correct expected outcome is the green one, and the predicted outcome from the machine learning model is the red one. So in that scenario, how do you calculate the accuracy? So using this simple formula, area of overlap divided by area of union. So we compute the whole area, and this particular thing will give the accuracy in terms of intersection over union. So if you see the examples what I show, we could achieve in most of the cases 95 to 97% IOU, and in some cases we could achieve 75 to 80% pixel accuracies. What are the other way in which the accuracy is being calculated? Precision, recall, and we also have this F1 score, which is nothing but 2 into precision into recall by precision plus recall. So what is precision? The total number of true positives, in this case, the total number of true positives divided by true positive plus false positive. That is the total predicted positive gives the precision, and the recall is computed using true positive and true positive plus false negative. That is nothing but actual positives. So using this phenomena, we can calculate the F1 score. If many research papers are using F1 score, but we use IOU and pixel accuracies. And yeah, to do the experiments, we have a whole lot of libraries and framework ready with us. We have used TensorFlow, Keras, and Keras is a high-level library which will work on top of TensorFlow. For example, if I have to write some 5-line code in TensorFlow, Keras will give me the entire operation in single-line code. So that advantage as a programmer we will be getting in Keras. And TensorFlow Lite, yes, these machine learning capabilities can be also deployed over mobile. We can use TensorFlow Lite framework, and Torch, Python Torch, MXNet, all these are open source applications which we can leverage. And finally, the ONNX. For example, if certain features are very good at MXNet, and maybe at some point of time I would like to take this particular model and go to TensorFlow. How is it possible? Through ONNX interoperability. So by enabling that, by integrating this particular module, I will be able to export the model which is built in one framework and take it to the next framework. So these are some of the concepts and primary. One particular platform we came across is Spark, where we have the opportunity to put together big data as well as the deep learning libraries together using this MLib available in Spark. So we also have a GeoSpark module there to handle the geospatial data. And you can see this entire architecture can work across Hadoop, MySQL, JSON, or CSVs. So these are some of the possibilities we are getting from the open source framework and libraries. I would like to stop here. Thank you. If any questions are there, I would like to take.
I request all the participants, if you have any queries, please unmute yourself.
Can you tell the public available dataset by ISRO? Yes, sir. I would be showing here. Yeah. From Bhuvan, you can go to Bhuvan store. Over in kind of a overview, I would like to give here. We have certain data sets for visualization. We have certain data sets for download. We have certain thematic data sets for visualization as well as download. And there are some web services like land use, land cover maps, etc. You can consume over your application and you can analyze. Even Quantum GIS, what I showed, there you have the provision to add WMS layer and see the data sets from Bhuvan. So now, this application, Open Data Archive, if you see here, you have scatterometer data, OCM data, AWIPS data, Cartosat, even CartoDem, 30-meter Carto, the digital elevation models are available for the entire country to download from here. And this particular link, Bhuvan Store, will give you the whole picture of what data sets are available, what data sets can be called as web map services. For example, in this case, land use, land cover map, you have to just call this WMTS service. And for each of the map, how it is created and what kind of accuracy and who is the owner of the data, which year is the data, which year data sets are used to derive this, everything is available in the technical document. And there are around 75 geophysical products available for download: chlorophyll, AD kinetic energy. You can see all the SCATSAT data sets. All these data sets are available. Can we have speaker name with email? I'm putting on the chat box. I'm Vidya Banu and my email ID is isro.gov.in. Vidya Banu at isro.gov.in. And thank you so much. Okay. Thank you for all this appreciation and nice words. Any other questions? So, ma'am?
No, madam, these are the queries till now we have received.
Okay. So at any time, you can please contact us using my email ID. We are here to answer your queries. If we don't know, we will explore and answer your queries. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, madam. You have shared very valuable information. Madam, there are queries.
Yes. Can you suggest some ideas which can okay, this is very important. I forgot to mention. I would like to show in Veda's platform. Is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, madam. It is visible.
Yes. So in Vedas, we have an opportunity under TREES program. TREES. So here students, every year, students come to their lab and get access to the GPU infrastructure over there and the expertise available in that center. And together, they derive so much of deep learning models. And finally, the applications, when it get matured, get into Vedas in public domain like this. So we have a huge opportunity for students to make use of this TREES training program. And the team is really awesome. And another one opportunity is in MOSTAC, you have a training program, and under Bhuvan, they are announcing in the website. Quite often they conduct webinars, and even under Respond Basket, etc. There are huge opportunities to work together and develop this end-to-end geospatial applications. Anybody interested to work on any new technology or with geoportals, and using all this geospatial data sets, etc., please write to us. We will get some mechanism to work together. With the intelligent vehicle system, can you suggest good algorithm to interface geospatial data with intelligent vehicle system? Okay, so when you want to do vehicle system, okay, in the navigation end, of course, we have the Navic, which can be integrated, and algorithm wise, IARS team is working on this traffic intelligence and intelligent vehicle related applications. So, sir, for this particular questions, I would like to come back to you for us with respect to the algorithms. I think we should have some kind of discussion to understand your requirements more. I think I have answered all the questions. Can you give your email ID, Rupa? We will have a discussion among our team and answer you. Okay, thank you so much. So, ma'am, are we concluding here?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, thank you very much, ma'am. It was really a wonderful session. You can even see the chat box. It is flowing with messages. It's a great session. Words to explain how helpful the session was.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. A special mention from our HOD, Dr. A. Ravi Garu. A special thanks on behalf of department and on behalf of Ravi sir. It was so helpful session. You have accepted our request in spite of your busy schedule and have given us such a wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, all the participants. I request all the participants to fill the feedback from attendance form posted in the chat box. అవసరం లేదు వాళ్ళకి తెలుసు
కట్ అయిందా ఎవరిది
ఇంకో బాటిల్ ఉంది, ఏం చేయాలి?
ఇంటికి పట్టుకెళ్ళు స్టార్ట్ నువ్వు చేద్దా
బాగుంటుంది కదా 2 రోజులైనా.
ఒక బోట్
మరి
కొంచెం ఇది ఒక భువన్ స్టోర్ ఇందులో మేడం కావాల్సిన ఇంకా ఎన్ని రాసుకున్నా ఎల్బిఎల్సి టెక్నికల్ డాక్యుమెంట్స్ ఎన్ని కావాలంటే అన్ని ఉంటాయి అలా. స్టూడెంట్స్కి ఏమో వేదాంత అండర్ డ్రీమ్స్ ఉంటుందంట. ఇదేంది మరి ఏంటబ్బా వాట్ హ్యాపెన్ టు యువర్ సిస్టమ్ యా ఇట్ ఇట్ రిపేర్
మనం మాత్రంగా ఉంటుంది పని చేయదు మేడం, మనం కూల్గా ఉంటుంది పని చేస్తుంది. ఇది పేస్ట్ అయింది. మీకేం
సేమ్
కావాలి?
అవ్వట్ల అయిపోయింది ఇప్పుడు వెళ్ళి క్లాసు
అమ్మా క్లాస్ వర్క్ చేసుకోవాలి. సరే
టైం టేబుల్
పేస్ట్ చేశారుగా,
సేవ్ చెయ్యాలి అని చెప్పినాక నిద్ర వేసేసరికి నాకు అప్పుడు వచ్చింది.
అయితే మీరు ఇప్పుడు అవైలబుల్గా ఉందా?
ఏ చెప్పు
ఏం లేదు, ఊరికే కూర్చున్నాం. మా ఆయన ఇంతకుముందు దిండి రిసార్ట్కి వెళ్ళారు.
రిసార్ట్కి
దిండి రిసార్ట్
అక్కడ
ఇక్కడ రావులపాలెం దగ్గర మొత్తం చూపించారు. చూపించి మనం రూమ్ వేసాడు. అది ఓనర్స్ రూమ్ అంటే 22,000 అంట పర్ నైట్. మావైతే డీలక్స్